English Literature Form 3 Stopping by Woods by Robert Frost. First we will see what the learning outcomes are. By doing this poem, you will be able to get to know some facts about the great poet Robert Frost who composed this poem, learn about some literary works that were composed by Robert Frost, get the main idea and analyze the poem Stopping by Woods, identify the literary devices that are used in the poem, identify the main themes portrayed in the poem, and also you will be able to write answers to context and essay type questions that are given from the poem. The poet who composed the poem that we are going to discuss today, Stopping by Woods, is a very famous American poet called Robert Lee Frost. Even though he was an American poet, his poems were first published in England, and he is a very remarkable character in our society because of some famous works of art that were composed by him, such as Fire and Ice, Mending Wall, Birches, Out Out, Nothing Gold Can Stay, and so on. And also he is highly regarded for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime, receiving 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry as well. Now we'll move to the poem. Robert Frost wrote Stopping by Woods on a snowy evening in 1922, and this poem tells the story of a man traveling through some snowy wood on the darkest evening of the year, and he's pretty much in love with what he sees around him. He's on his way back to town, but he can't quite tear himself away from the lovely and dark woods. When talking about the meanings of the poem, people love to talk about what this poem means actually. Some argue that it's simply a description of a man appreciating nature. Others would tell you that there are some heavy metaphor action going down, that the poem is about death, and also there are those who take it a step further and say that this poem addresses suicide. But anyway, nature lovers see it as a piece that trumpets nature and that scorns civilization. But anyway, Robert Frost is a beloved American poet who is very popular for nature poems, and always Robert Frost is known for creating simple poems that can be interpreted on many different levels. He also loved to inject everyday the colloquial speech into his poems, and he was big on sounds, often talking about how the sounds of words carry more meaning than the words themselves. So in order to find the secrets which are hidden in this poem, we'll move to the analysis of the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. We'll start our analysis with the first stanza. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. Here, the narrator of the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening stops by some woods on his way one evening, and the narrator knows the owner of the woods and even where he lives. He is a bit relaxed, thinking that the owner of the woods lives in the village, so he won't see the narrator stopping here. Therefore, he can continue watching the natural beauty of these snow-covered woods. Second stanza. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. In this stanza, the narrator says that his dear horse, whom he is using as his carriage, must think that it's a bit strange to stop here between the woods and the frozen lake in a dark evening, as he normally stops near a farmhouse. The narrator calls his horse my little horse. It's very dear to him, or maybe the horse is a little one in the literal sense, that is a pony, and it may also suggest that the speaker is a humble and ordinary citizen that cannot afford to buy an expensive horse. He also personifies the horse by indicating that it has a thought process, and also referring it as he in the next stanza. And in this stanza, the narrator suggests that the weather is cold enough to freeze a lake. The expression darkest evening can suggest several things. most probably it can tell that the traveler was very depressed due to his long journey or the cold weather. Now we'll move to the third stanza. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if they are some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Here the horse is shaking its head, ringing the bell attached to its harness, and if he is asking his master whether there's any problem, as it's unusual for him to stop by the woods in the darkness. And the important thing in this stanza of the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening is the sound imageries. There's only three sounds: the sounds of the harness bell, light wind, and the snowflakes. We'll move to the last stanza. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Here in this last stanza, the narrator describes the woods using three adjectives: lovely, dark, and deep. This indicates that he is enjoying the scene and wants to do so for long, but he has some other responsibilities in his life. He has to go a long way before he sleeps, so he cannot get the enjoyment for long. Here in our life also, in our real life, we also have many things to look at with many things to enjoy, but in most cases we also cannot simply do so because we have other things to do in our short lifespan. So we have to move on. The same thing is described in this poem as well. Even though this poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening can be interpreted in several ways, when talking about the themes, we can say that man and the natural world, isolation of human beings, and sometimes also we can say choices of human beings are nicely portrayed through the poem. One of the important topics that we are going to discuss in this session is the poetic techniques that are used in the poem. Even though you can point out there are several poetic techniques that are used in the poem, for your convenience I have listed out some poetic techniques that can be cited from the poem. They are metaphors, personification, imagery in the sense auditory and visual imagery both, and alliteration and consonance. That's all with the explanations today. In order to revise what we have done today, here I have given you a context question and an essay type question as well. So you all have to try doing all these activities at home in order to brush up the things that you have done so far. I hope you all enjoyed today's session, and I hope to meet you all again with another session. Until then, stay safe, have a nice day, and thank you very much.